How's it rockin', Dween Nation? This is the Dween Sports Podcast. We're about to get underway. But before we do, we'd love if you could like, comment, subscribe, or share. We are posting weekly sports content, and we want to build up the brand that is Dween Sports. Thank you all, and enjoy.
Heading into 2025. Let's move to our next team, though, with the Dallas Cowboys. They get new head coach Brian Schottenheimer. Mike McCarthy is no longer head coach. They get, oh my God, what's his name? Eberflus is on the defensive end. But let's look at this team. Most of the main guys are still there with Dak and Ceedee, but the running back room has changed. You got Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, nothing to write home about. But this team does have some early draft capital that they could use on one of the top running backs in either Ashton, Omarion Hampton, Caleb Johnson, Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins. So I think that the running back room is not complete for this Dallas Cowboys team. If you're a Cowboys fan, you probably know that, and you definitely hope that it's not over. And then for the wide receiver room, you lose Brandon Cooks, and right now all you have is CeeDee Lamb. It's desolate behind CeeDee Lamb, which means the Cowboys, if they got any smarts on them, they are bringing in another wide receiver, probably a first rounder. I think that 12th pick is first round Emeka Egbuka, if he could land there. Ted McMillan, as you mentioned, Luther Burden, Matthew Golden, like somebody is landing, I think, wide receiver there. And they kind of did the same thing a few years ago with CeeDee Lamb. He was, the 17th overall pick 3 or 4 years ago. Now they're in that close to teens range. I think that they go wide receiver there. And then maybe with their second rounder, get a running back, because I don't know about Javonte and Miles Sanders. I'm interested what that duo is. And Janelle, I'll pose that question to you. If it's Javonte and Miles Sanders, what's the fantasy outlook for those two running backs? Who would be the lead, or would it just be too committee-like to dive into?
Absolutely, Justin. A huge committee. I mean, I really wish they might as well they should have just re-signed Dowdle there. I don't know what his asking price there. Dowdle is now a Carolina Panther. And I think that should be pretty cool there. That'll get into Chuba stock, but we'll get that in another episode. I would say here, with Dallas, you mentioned a couple of things, and I'm kind of thinking of a possible couple scenarios for Dallas. Real quick, history lesson for Dween Nation. The new head coach is Brian Schottenheimer for Dallas Cowboys. Now, his father, rest in peace, Marty Schottenheimer, was a legendary head coach himself there. And Justin, in his legendary career, Martin Schottenheimer, he was the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs for about 10 seasons, and then he went to San Diego in the mid-2005, 2002 to 2006. Both times in Kansas City and in San Diego, Justin, he had some really high-powered offenses there. I think he was behind a LaDainian Tomlinson legendary career, if I'm not mistaken. I think LaDainian Tomlinson might have won MVP under Schottenheimer's, head coach reign. Not to mention, I think even in the mid-'90s, he had some really good Kansas City Chiefs teams there. I could be mistaken. Priest Holmes might have been the star running backs. So what is my point here, Justin? I think the Schottenheimers could be kind of to the Shanahans and a kind of link there, kind of close to where they like to run the football, have elite running backs. Where am I going with this, Justin? Well, I think there's many ways the Dallas Cowboys can go, right? Schottenheimer learned a lot from his dad, Brian, from Marty. I think he's going to take a lot of that going into Dallas. What he was able to do last year with McCarthy was absolutely abysmal as far as the running backs. I do think, yes, Dowdle had some good moments. He had some flashes, but they signed back Ezekiel Elliott. They tried to make that work. It just didn't work out. This new fresh chapter for Dallas, they need to figure out the wide receiver and the running back. That's it. Forget about the defense. You're about to, or I think you already have, are going to spend a bag on Micah Parsons. Forget that. You lost to Marcus Lawrence, whatever. Forget whatever defense, and let's focus offense, right? You made a investment to Dak Prescott. You made an investment to CeeDee Lamb. You've lost some linemen, so I think there's going to be 3 different ways Dallas can go here. They potentially could get a lineman. Historically, I remember, get Johnny Manziel in 2014. They went with Zach Martin, I think. And they built an offensive line for many years. I think that's a way they can go. Another way they can go is they can get Egbuka in the first round, second round draft Amari Hampton, or if one of the Ohio State running backs is there, hey, why not bring another Ohio State running back? Because, hey, the last time you drafted Ohio State running back, he had a phenomenal rookie season, led you to the number 1 seed, right? 13-3. So why not do that? Let's get Ohio State wide receiver, maybe Egbuka, or an Ohio State lineman, maybe Simmons, or the other one, I forgot his name. And then in the second round, go another Ohio State offensive product there. You got is it Henderson and then Judkins, right? Or maybe Omari Hampton if he lasts. Even if it's Scatterbo, you have to go wide receiver, O lineman, or running back with your first 2 picks, right? So if it's in the first round, second round, that's what I think Dallas needs to do. And protect your investment in Dak Prescott. He's had 2 season-ending injuries in the last 4 to 5 seasons. That can take a toll on your franchise quarterback. Let's get him some running back room. What happened when you drafted Ezekiel Elliott? You guys went 13-3. Dak Prescott was second in Rookie of the Year voting. Let's get that back. Let's get a GT. Let's get a Hampton, a Judkins. Let's get some fresh talent here. I'm looking at the depth chart here. Javonte Williams and Deuce Vaughn and Miles Sanders is not going to cut it. You are not beating Philadelphia. You are not running on, what I hope Washington can do. You're not running anything. Let's get a nice, fresh rookie talent. Let's get a fresh wide receiver there. And let's get some talent on that offense. Let's not worry about the defense because, Jerry, you're going to be spending a ton.
Yeah, no, I like everything you said there. The biggest concern after the thing that's tough is they have a lot of holes now in this entire team. And I agree that the offense should be the focus because that's where you have most of your money put into. But the O-line is a shell of what it used to be back when Dak was a rookie and Zeke was a rookie. Zach Martin retires. They've lost they've lost all of that from that star offensive line they had years ago. It's no longer there. So there's a chance. I think there's a possibility that the Cowboys don't address anything else with the running back position, unfortunately. Like, there's a possibility with that if they want to go O-line because they need that as well. They need to keep Dak Prescott upright.
I want to say one last thing. The history of Dallas Cowboys has actually been running backs. We talk about Tony Dorsett. We talk about Herschel Walker, Emmitt Smith. Who can forget DeMarco Murray's 2014 season, Justin? A fantasy league winning season there. They were able to make the playoffs. I think they won their division that year with DeMarco Murray. Then he leaves that next year to go to Philadelphia. Wasn't so good as an Eagle, as we remember, Justin. But, hey, that next year, Dallas kind of went downhill, right? And I think they went 5-12 that year. Tony Romo was hurt. And then they get Zeke. And then ever since then, Justin, since Zeke has regressed, went to New England the year or so, they haven't really found the running back. So Dallas historically, Justin, has been running back. Think of all the Super Bowls they've run. Yes, they had pretty good quarterbacks, pretty legendary wide receivers there in their Super Bowl years, but running back was always the heart and soul and the engine of their Super Bowl winning championship teams.
That's a really great point. And I really do hope that because to me, a star rookie running back in a Dallas Cowboys offense would be a top 2 round guy. Like, especially if it's Hampton or Genty, I really would love a landing spot of that. But at the current standings of it, Javonte and Miles Sanders are pretty undraftable. They would go in like a double-digit round, but I really couldn't tell you today who would be the starter, who would be the lead back. As for, the quarterback position, Dak Prescott, I think we'll have a really solid year. But would you? I'm gonna throw a couple names, and you just tell me Dak or this guy. I throw a name at you. Would you rather have Dak in fantasy this year or Justin Herbert?
Justin Herbert.
Okay, Dak or Bo Nix?
Dak.
Okay, I agree. I would rather go Dak or Kyler Murray.
I still want to believe in Kyler Murray so bad, Justin. You don't understand. Like, I want to let me go Dak Prescott because he gets in more shootouts.
I'm gonna agree. I would go Dak. I think I've gone Dak across the 3 in my brain. But what about the last 2? Dak or Brock Purdy?
Man, yeah. You know what? Let me go Dak Prescott just because I have no idea where San Francisco's going. I mean, I think they could still be good, but I am just clueless as far as San Francisco.
All right, and last one. I think this is going to be a tough one, but I might see where you go. Dak or Baker Mayfield?
That's really tough. Wow. Man. Oh, dude, Justin,
both have good play callers.
Okay, let me go with Dak Prescott, but I will say Baker Mayfield is starting to win me over a little bit, Justin, just a little bit. I was his biggest hater, if I would admit it. Let me go Dak Prescott, but that one's very tough because Baker, I think, could have a great season with Godwin and Evans, and they're always developing there in Tampa. So, but let me go with Dak Prescott.
I think that one is where I go Baker, but okay. I could completely see Dak going nuts this year. But they really I need to see another capable wide receiver in that room. Mm-hmm. And the last thing we'll discuss with the Cowboys is the wide receiver room. Just about CeeDee Lamb, the star. He's going to be a first-round pick, but where do you kind of line him up in the first round against all the other wide receivers and running backs?
So as far as the first 6 picks, I'm definitely taking, I take Bijan. I take Saquon.
Saquon.
Let's see who was another top. Jamar Chase for sure.
Jettas.
Jettis for sure. I know I'm missing somebody. I
Nico.
take
Nico Ceedee.
no. I take CD over Nico, but CD and Puka is where I have to double check there.
Okay.
Who's another running back?
Gibbs. What about Gibbs?
I'm taking Gibbs over CD Lamb. I'm taking Gibbs over CD Lamb for sure. Amon Ra or CD Lamb. I think I'd take CD.
Yeah.
I'd go CD. Who else are we missing here?
Would you do Derrick Henry, or is that too?
No, because Derrick Henry is.
What about Neighbors or BTJ? Do they factor in here to jump CD? I don't think so. I'd go. CD.
I'd take CD over both of the LSU products from
Maybe
last
Neighbors.
season.
We'll talk about Neighbors in a few minutes, but the Neighbors discussion could be. This is going to be an interesting discussion.
I will say that this fantasy draft season is going to be one for the books because we now have all our studs now for the next 2 to 3 years, and so hey, man, I would take CD over the 2 LSU products, but I don't know if I'm taking CD over Gibbs. I'm taking Gibbs over for sure CD. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
I think Gibbs is top 5.
For me, in a first-round draft, I'm going Jamar, I'm going Jettas, and I'm really high on Nico, so I would go with those 3 wide receivers over CD. And then as for the running backs, I would agree. I think I would go Saquon, Bijan, and Gibbs. So I think CD is a top 7 guy in your drafts this year for sure. And I could see an argument for CD over of course Nico, even maybe over Jettas because he's had essentially a rookie quarterback. But we did doubt Jettas a little bit last year and he balled out. So I think CD kind of finds himself right around there. But anyways, go ahead.
Our last thing, in our main league, I think CD Lamb in the past 2 years was in the championship. So CD Lamb, I think 2 years ago in one of our championship had a 92-yard touchdown. This year our guy Matt had CD Lamb, and I think he won the championship. So CD Lamb might be a good little charm.
Yeah, right. Maybe I have to remember that. That's funny. But anyway, at the end then, with the way the free agency is gone, with the way that we think the draft's going to go, what do you think is like a projected Cowboys record and where they'll land? Are they a playoff team or are they more in the same spot they were last year?
I'm gonna go. Is it 9-8 now, or is it 10 because of the extra game? I think it's a 10-8, right? You can be 10-7.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go 10-7, but that's me really being nice there.
Okay.
I would assume that they've drafted Gene T or a good running back that boosts this offense. So I'm hoping that I have a feeling Jerry's going to go a boring lineman there with the 12th pick. I think they have the 12th pick, 12 or 13, something like that. But I hope they get Gene T. I think Gene T falls just a little bit, and I think they get him hopefully. But if they do, 10-7 for sure. I don't think they win the division though.
I'm going to land right there as well. I think 10-7 is a really good call. I think if Dak and Ceedee are healthy and they bring in that running back, they got to get a good amount of wins. The reason they've fallen short is they lose Dak or they lose Ceedee or it's mainly losing Dak. But like stuff like that injuries has caused, the downfall of the Cowboys. But I think they're in for a very solid season. And I think they could slide into a wild card spot. It's very possible. We will discuss through all the other 30, what we've discussed now, 3 teams. So the other 20